Respiratory system. It's the last chapter before your mid-years. And also the SRS for respiratory system. You are absent today. It's quite too much. So I'm going to give you your revision practice. You should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 papers. Sorry, 3 papers. 2 of them are there are some answer keys here. Sorry, no, none of them are answer keys. Okay, so one is MCQ paper, the other one is a structure. Okay, you will have papers from 2018, 2019, and 2020. Sorry, 2021. Okay, so we're just going to pass down now. Make sure you get 6 pieces of block. So, 1. Tokyo, when it reaches you, right, you pass to Piney. And Piney, you pass forward. You check that you have 6 papers, 2 2018, 2 2019, 1 2021. Please write your name on them now. So 3 MCQs, 3 structures. Please write your name on them. One full set here. Yeah, please double check. I have a lot of extras here. I have a 2019 MCQ paper. I have a 2021 structure. I have a 2021 MCQ. And I have a 2018 structure. Sorry? Right. Okay, but it's just random pieces of papers. You sure you have all 6? Okay. Yeah. Wow. Sure 2018 paper 1? Is that 2018 paper 1? Please. All these past year papers must do. Okay. When you have no time to do notes, this is the case line you do. Okay. Right. I know every teacher spam you past year papers. Have you got chem and physics? In chem, physics, how many have you gotten? What? Chem? No. I think it'll come soon. Do you all get for like other subjects like math? What? I got past year paper. Okay, so for bio, I know there's a lot of writing to do. Okay, number 1, your MCQ must do. Second, for your structure, okay, for the structure, I'm okay if you don't write full sentences. Make sure you exercise your brain. You can write bullet points. Okay, write bullet points, all the keywords that you want to use inside your answer. Okay, at the very least. Okay, then when I pass you the answers, right, then you can have a check through whether you have some of the keywords that you're supposed to use. Okay, can you save one paper for yourself to do a time practice? Can you save the 2019 paper for yourself? Okay, 2019 for time practice. Usually, for biology students, they will, do their best to remember, to understand the concepts. But then there's one final layer is doing other time practice. Okay? Yeah, the one your first time doing it under time conditions will be the mid-year itself. Okay? So save one of 2019, do it under time conditions, do it to the best of your ability. Yeah? Okay, so can you start first with 2018? Wrong. Can you start first with 2021? Then after that go to 2018. Then say 2019 for last. After you have a strategy one. Okay? whatever come out in 2021, right, you should expect that we won't have to do the same thing immediately, right? Okay, so usually the strategy is whatever subject, do the latest paper first, then start to go backwards. Okay? Now, clear? Okay. So by next week, I will complete the syllabus for your mid-years. Okay. Then we give you as much time, a longer runway to revise. Okay, so today we're going to begin the last chapter for your media exams. Right, the respiratory system. I invite you to go into your SLS. Go to tab A first. Is the video started yet? Okay, I said to you, for those who are feeling like you're struggling to catch up, okay, I advise you that just be present in the moment. Okay? Whatever chapter we're doing now, just be present. Right? Revision need not be always about catch up. You focus in the present, and then this chapter is clear. Right? Then you have to revise respiratory system. Right? So always just be present, and you can work backwards from there. Okay? Don't always play catch up and think that you need to catch up before you can understand this present problem. Okay? So just be present in the moment. The respiratory system. Right? Can I get everyone to go into tab A first? Right? Then we'll enter. Okay, let's start off today with a little bit of introduction. Okay, we've just come from a particular system in plants, and that's the transport system. Today we're going to go back to human beings. We're going to go into the respiratory system. So we apply the same lens as we look at this system. What are the parts of the system? How do they work together? And what happens if a part of it is disrupted? The same questions we apply to every system. So after the media exams, we're going to talk about the urinary system. Hopefully we can get kidneys to like chop. Okay? Anyway, the same idea comes in. Okay, we want to start with the parts, and know how they work together and what happens if it's disrupted. Today, we're going to focus on the parts of this system. Okay? But before that, we need to know what they are working together for. What in the world is the respiratory system of the human being for? Just a quick, I'd like to listen to you first this morning. So there's a quick entry, bullet point form in short sentence. What is the respiratory system for, do you think? More and more responses coming in. As the responses come in, have a look at your friends' responses. What in the world is our respiratory system for? In fact, we just came from a chapter called energetics, and there was one word called cellular respiratory. Are they related? our responses. What in the world is our respiratory system for? First, okay, if we scan across the board and look at your friend's responses, a lot of them has to do with taking in oxygen and removing carbon dioxide. That's true. Where does the oxygen go to? What is it used for? Yeah, okay. The oxygen is used for cellular respiration. Let's recap. Specifically, which part of cellular respiration? Which step? Oxidative phosphorylation. Exactly what is the oxygen used for in the electron transport chain? It's used as a final electron acceptor. Oh, I see it's crazy, huh? You know exactly what oxygen is used for now. So, if you ever see a primary school student, tell them you are breathing oxygen so they can use oxidative phosphorylation so they can use as a final electron acceptor in cellular. Yeah? Okay, then carbon dioxide is going to be produced, right? Where exactly is carbon dioxide produced? Krebs cycle is what? Any others? Krebs cycle is the third stage. Okay, second stage, okay, then there's this thing called the link reaction. Okay, so these kind of small pushing things, right? You slowly get a hang of it. Okay, I suggest you draw a mind map to link them all together, it will be helpful. I don't memorize. When I am talking to you about it, I literally have a mind map in my head and I'm just trying to draw links together on the spot. Okay? So, yes, this is where all the oxygen goes. That's where the carbon dioxide comes from. But how do we even get the oxygen into our system? Okay, and that's what our respiratory system is for. See where it says to deliver oxygen to cells in the body. Actually, our respiratory system's primary function is to get oxygen into our lungs. What gets oxygen to the rest of our body is another system, the circulatory system. Okay, so bear this in mind. When you study the respiratory system, can you keep in mind the circulatory system also? Okay, these two are quite linked to each other. Because after all, one part of the circulatory system goes to the lungs and then it comes back. Okay, so link the two together. And if we have a look, most of our responses has to do with exchange of gases, of oxygen, and then out goes carbon dioxide. Some of us mentioned the idea of breathing. For example, Kila brought up breathing. Here's one of the things, part of our respiratory system. But primarily, most of us brought up oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay, either just went straight to the extreme. Okay, if not, we will die. True. Okay, over here, Kainin even brought up what the oxygen is used for. Okay, it's used actually in cellular respiration to produce ATP. So it's Zoré even mentioned that it's used in cellular respiration specifically. Okay, so the respiratory system purely is to help us get oxygen in and carbon dioxide out. Its role is not to produce energy per se. Yeah? That would be the chapter of energetics. So today, we're going to spend some time understanding first the structure of our respiratory system. From my understanding, when I talked to 403, they said that in primary school you learn a little bit about the various parts. Yeah? Okay. So we do a quick recap. Can you do a quick buzz with your neighbor? What are all the parts you remember of your respiratory system? Okay, so what's the best you can remember of the respiratory system? Okay, at least got lungs, right? Okay, lungs, anything else? Nose. Okay, so you see we are building up the system. You got the nose, you got the lungs. Okay, got a windpipe. At least now we are connecting the two together. From the nose, the windpipe. Okay, and then one windpipe down. Then the lungs over here. Okay, so you have not learned what the two tubes that branch out from the windpipe are. Okay, so now may I invite everyone to go to Lumos? You know how to get there fast? Anyone bookmark it or anything? Remember to like, subscribe. Okay, so if you cannot find Lumos, you can also go to Google Classroom. I put the link there. Okay, like for today, I put up the virtual model of the respiratory system. Can everyone go there? I would like to show you a very nice model that you can find on Lumos. Okay, some of the systems that you go to, some of the pages you go to, you can find very nice models that I found to embed. I love this particular model here. Shows you very broadly the respiratory system moving. If you are on this particular page, you can even do this. You can click on this arrow over here, explore, then you click on hide. Okay, sorry? Oh, used before. Oh, alright, okay. Oh, nice. Okay, so missing took my recommendation. See. Oh, even better. Okay, so what you can do next is you can then remove parts. Okay, so very broadly, let's look at the respiratory system. Okay, so this is the front view. We discussed that there is their lungs, right? Okay, first and foremost on the outside is the rib cages. Okay, let's remove the rib cages first. You see this bone in the middle? Okay, you can feel it over here. You can feel it? This bone over here. Okay, that is the sternum. Okay, so we just give a name to all these parts. The sternum. Okay, everyone, you can remove the sternum. Okay, the sternum kind of links all the rib cages together in the middle. Right? But also protects a very important part of your body. The spine. Your spine is very high. Okay. Actually, right behind your sternum, you can find your heart. Your heart is supposed to be here. Okay, this particular model is your heart. Okay. Okay, I'm going to start removing rib cage. So bye bye rib cage. Oh yo. Okay, I removed a bit too much. Oh yo, shucks. Yeah, okay, I'm very bad aiming. Okay, let's start removing it. Okay, so if you look up here, you can see that I have sort of removed a bit too much. Okay, wow, but if you look at this, when you remove away the lung, the outer coat, you can see that inside the lung, there are lots and lots and lots of little branches, little tubes. Right? Okay, and if you work backwards, you can see that there are two main branches going upwards, one from each lung. Then they combine together into one central tube that goes all the way up, okay, eventually to your nostrils. So very broadly, we're going to identify some of these parts. The first part that goes down, okay, I'm going to draw it the side over here. First part that goes down, okay, we call it the trachea, or as you call it in your primary school days, the windpipe. Yeah. Then it will branch into two because there are two lungs. Each one is called a bronchus. The plural of it is bronchi. What's the plural of octopus? No, it's octopuses. Okay, next. Each bronchus will branch off into further branches. We call these further branches bronchioles. Okay? And at the tip of each bronchiole, there are small little like balloons. I think you learned in primary school before. We call them air sacs in primary school. Okay, at our level, we're going to call it alveolus. A single air sac is called an alveolus. Many air sacs, we call it alveoluses, alveoli. Alveoli. Okay, that's for many. Okay, so at the end of each one, lots and lots of alveoli. And then there's that, that outer coat, okay, of tissue that forms the lung. Fun fact, this thing over here has zero muscle. There's no muscle involved over here. It's really just a bag. how in the world do we get air in and out? That's the interesting part. Okay, yeah lah, through the pipes, but like, how do you get the air in? How? Like, what do you do to get the air in? Peristalsis. Wait, you think about it, so you're telling me, you get your air in, right? Every time you take a breath of air in, then your trachea here, ooh, then you get the air in. Can you imagine you go for a run, right? How fast the peristalsis must go to get air in? I don't know how you get air in that way also. Okay, but I could try, Actually, the trachea is lined with muscles. It's lined with muscles. More specifically, we call them smooth muscles. I think in JH3 you learned that smooth muscles are involuntary. So you cannot control these muscles per se, right? Even when you are asleep, right, you're going to be moving. Okay, but your purpose is not to do peristalsis. Yeah, just need to let you know. Okay, a little bit more on the structure. Let's zoom into one of these alveolus. We look at alveolus, very interesting structure. It's not quite what you expect. It doesn't look quite like just literally an air sac like a balloon. It's actually, there's a lot of partitionings inside. Okay, so I'm going to do a cross section of it. I'm going to slice this into half. Okay, so that we can look at it on the inside. Okay, so I've sliced it up so you can see the inside. Okay, this is a wall made up of cells. Okay, the amazing part about the alveoli is that when you slice it in half and you have a look, it's just made up of a single layer of cells. Okay, the wall is made up of a single layer of cells. Notice that every part of the body that involves things being transported across tends to be made of a single layer of cells. Remember another part of your body where it's just one cell thick? The small intestine, the capillaries. Every time we need stuff to pass through fast, we need it to be one cell thick. So that's the beauty of the alveolus also. It is also, okay, let me just do it over here. It is also one cell thick. For what purpose might we need it to be one cell thick? Okay, now let's draw the link a little bit from the circulatory system to the respiratory system. You learned in JH3 that there is a pulmonary artery going to the lungs. Now where exactly does it go? Well, it goes here. It goes to the air sacs. At the air sacs, you will find a lot of, I'm going to draw capillaries right now. So this is a capillary that's wrapping around the air sac. And just like the air sacs, the capillary is also one cell thick. Oh shucks, my one cell thick is very thick. And I'm going to try to draw one cell thick. Okay, so let me go the other way around also. Okay, you know what? I know you are frantically like trying to draw what I draw, but you can Google exactly this thing. So you go and Google the structure of the alveolus. You have the internet with you, so don't always copy everything I draw. You can also extract from the internet too. Hey, my process thing. Oh, that's why we don't use the internet. Okay, so your blood capillaries that are going around the alveolus is also one cell thick. Yeah, so I'm just going to do a little bit, and then I'm going to stop already. Okay, and then blood will go through this area, your blood capillaries. Alright, so if you search online alveolus structure, you can see the beauty of the alveolus structure. You can copy and paste one of these images into your notes. So this is what an alveolus looks like. Each air sac you see is highly partitioned. Okay, and you see lots and lots of blood capillaries going in and out. Okay, sorry, they don't go in and out. They are wrapping around the alveolus like a netting. This is me trying to draw things from a side view. Okay, you see the blood capillary, one cell thick, the alveolus also one cell thick. Okay, the beauty of it is that now when you take a nice breath in of oxygen, this oxygen can very easily go into the bloodstream. So, if you want a little bit of direction of which part of the notes we are at, I kind of skip a little bit forward. If you scroll down to this part over here, 5.2.3, adaptations of the alveoli. Okay, the image here, I think, may not give you as much information. Feel free to go online to copy and paste one of those more elaborate diagrams to paste in your notes. Okay, 5.2.3. Can I say again? Feel free to correct one of these images. It's very beautiful. Okay. Other adaptations of the air sacs. Okay. Okay, I'm going to write down. Number one, we see that it's one cell thick. That's really good every time we need things to be transported. Number two, there are lots of blood capillaries. So, lots and lots of blood capillaries. Okay. It is a rich network. This is important so that we can quickly grab the oxygen away and bring it to the relevant parts of the body. Number three, what? There are numerous of these air sacs. Numerous of them. Okay? And because of that, because it's numerous, there's a large surface area. Everything we do here is so that we can make sure we can grab as much oxygen as possible. I don't know if you notice, but these three things, right, are the same adaptations of your villi. Still remember, in the small intestines, when you want to absorb nutrients from the small intestines, your villi, same adaptations. One cell thick, lots of blood capillaries, numerous in nature, and large surface area. Every time we need to absorb something, the adaptations are largely very similar. This one last adaptation is not found in your small intestines. Number four, there's a layer of moisture in your lungs. You notice every time you take a breath out, actually it's quite moist. You go and, right, and feel a little bit of moisture in your hand. That's because inside your alveolus, right, there is a layer of moisture, layer of water over here. This layer of moisture is really, really important. Because gases cannot just, enter our bloodstream. They need to first dissolve in water. Once dissolved in the water, then they can diffuse into our blood. So that's what the layer of moisture is for. Here, there's a layer of moisture for gases to dissolve. That's really important, this final adaptation. For those that are done, okay, as simple as this task is, I think it's an important one. You know the path that oxygen takes into our body and carbon dioxide out of our body. Here is the general, all the parts of our respiratory system. Can you now take a quick snapshot of this? Okay. I do not need you to upload it onto SLS. If you find it more meaningful to paste inside your textbook, please do that instead. Can you draw the pathway that air will take into and finally reaching the lungs and then after that out of it? Do you know where it will go up to? Okay, so just a quick exercise. Grab this image, use arrows to draw the direction that oxygen will take into our body. Okay. Where will it reach up to before carbon dioxide will start coming out? You see all the relevant parts here that we've talked about so far? Okay. Yes. Or the alveolus. Okay, for those not clear, I say again, take a quick screenshot of this image. You trace the pathway that gas will take into our body and then out. I give you the option, you can put it directly into your notes, or you can upload it on SLS, whichever you find more useful for yourself. Just like how you know the pathway of blood through the circulatory system, you should at the very least know how air moves in and out. About a minute more for you to do the tracing. Notice as you trace, some of you have two ways that air can go in and out. When you breathe, how does air go in? My nose is perpetually blocked, so I have another way of breathing. Okay, quick discussion. Okay, let's look at the pathway the air takes into and out of the lungs. Okay, so what I've just asked you to do is one way we can see if you understand the path that air takes. Another way I could check your understanding, or you can check your own understanding, is that we could provide something like that. Maybe I'll put something like, okay, so this is another way to check your understanding. I could put bronchus, alveoli, Then after that, bronchioles, trachea, nostril. Then after that, the teacher may do something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then maybe the MCQ options go something like that. A, B, C, D. Then we have like 4, 3, 2, 1, 5. And 5, 4, 2, 3, 1. Right? So this is another way to assess your understanding of whether you know how air moves in and out. Yeah? By asking you to sequence the order. So if you see this, what would be the sequence? 5, 4, 1, 3, 2. Okay? As simple as this is, actually some students cannot picture this happening. I noticed that sometimes students think that the air, okay, this is the way I normally include one script. I'll have like 1/6 option that's just random, and I'll include it into the options. So I'll put the esophagus. Yeah? Just put this one random thing in. Then in the options, right, I'll put esophagus as one of the pathways you can take. Students will choose that. Okay? So what is the esophagus for? Digestive system. What goes down the esophagus? Food. Is it possible to breathe air into your stomach? Tell us. Try out. Try now. Can you fill your stomach with air? Can you inflate your stomach with air? Try. Cannot. I mean, when I was very young, right, then I sometimes recess just got here yet, I'm very hungry, and I think to myself, okay, I also don't have my water bottle with me, I'm just gonna eat air until I try to fill myself up. It doesn't quite work. Okay, there's a flap between our esophagus and our windpipe. Okay, so there's a flap that can open close depending on which one you're using at the point in time. I mean, have you tried breathing while eating? Okay, that's when you choke up. Okay, I'm sure everyone has done it before. There's this challenge online that I saw, right? It's ridiculous. You confirm a choke. I don't know if you've seen before, it's crazy. You all don't try this, So it's like bubble tea, drink, take straw. This challenge, is crazy. You confirm, right, will choke one. Okay, where is this, TikTok challenge? I can't find it. Bubble tea, take straw, choke. Try choke some bubble tea, bro. Yeah, I can't find it. Maybe another time. Oh, it's a TikTok. Is it a TikTok challenge? It is not. This one is stupid. So they tried to drink bubble tea using a very thick straw. You think what's going to happen? Okay, that's not a straw. It is impossible not to choke. Confirm a choke. You don't try this at home, Ready? Right, everybody chokes. What? Some family or family do it. Okay, wrong kind of pause. When you're drinking through a very small straw, all you are really doing to suck the liquid in, right, it's not using your lungs. Yeah, you're just using simple physics. Create a vacuum in your mouth, then you let the air, then liquid will go up to cause a difference in pressure. But in order to suck through a big straw like this, you know what these people are doing? They are using their respiratory system to suck. But when you do that, the liquid will go into your trachea, not into the esophagus. So this is a sure way to choke. Okay, so by now you should have drawn a pathway that goes kind of in, and you notice that actually air can take both pathways. It can go through your mouth or go through your nostril. But either way, it will end up down the trachea, right? So we kind of share the mouth is some pathway where both air and food can technically go in. But which path it takes depends on which flap is open at that point in time. The flap should close when you're breathing. The flap should be closed to block out the esophagus when you are breathing. Okay? Okay. You feel this over here? Is that your esophagus or your trachea? Okay. You feel it? Yeah? Okay, you think okay. Is this your trachea or esophagus? You think okay, who says it's the esophagus? Who says it's the trachea? How are you going to test to see which one is which? Okay, solo one is solo. It's esophagus. Right. Okay, so when you swallow, you feel this motion going up and down, right? That is not your esophagus moving. Okay? You feel these hard structures around your neck over here? Okay, that is cartilage. Okay, you know what cartilage is? Cartilage is the same thing that is used to make your ears and your nose. Okay, cartilage is like soft bone, right? Your ears, your nose, your this part. Okay, I just did it. This is actually your trachea. It is your trachea. Have you ever seen, some people who cannot breathe, then they will insert a tube here. Yeah, that tube, right, goes straight into the trachea. That helps the air go in and out, exchange of gases. Okay? And okay, so my grandpa was very ill at a point of time, and in order for them to get food into him, they don't put a hole here, right? Instead, they stick it into the mouth, down the throat, right? And then they feed liquid food down the throat. But if you ever see a tube over here, right, it's not for food. It's very often for gases. Okay, this is the trachea. What do you suppose this cartilage is for? Okay, can, right? Sorry, you say? For support. Okay, it's primarily for support. Makes sense, huh? Just like how the cartilage in your nose is for support, keep the two nostrils open up so that you can breathe. The trachea over here is to give your the cartilage over here is also to give your trachea support. Keeps it open, right, so that you can breathe. If I were to draw the cartilage of the trachea, it goes something like that. It's like a C shape, actually, it's interesting. Okay? If I were to look at it from the side view, right? Okay, and if you look into your SLS, you scroll down, this is a side view of your trachea. Okay? Hey, so not side view, the cross section of your trachea. So you're like looking at it from up down. You see that they label one part C-shaped cartilage ring. Yeah? So if I were to draw it on the whiteboard right now, okay, the trachea is made up of a layer of muscles. It's also made up of a layer of cells. And surrounding it, you'll find cartilage. Okay, I'm drawing it in red over here. And interestingly, this cartilage is C-shaped. It doesn't go full, it doesn't complete at the back. What a hazard guess why? Yeah? Why isn't the cartilage full circle? If it's for support, don't you want it to be full support all the way down like a proper straw? Sorry, there's a Okay, actually, quite spot on. What's behind your trachea? Your esophagus. So your esophagus is right here. Okay, this is your esophagus. So contact. Imagine you swallow something big, then that big thing goes down, then it needs some space to expand, right? The big food. It can push into your windpipe, your trachea a little bit. Without this cartilage here, it can push its way in a little bit. Anyway, you're not supposed to breathe and swallow food at the same time. Yes?
So the thing at the bottom is like...
Yeah, likely that structure you see below that's half cut off, that's likely the esophagus. You see there is a thick layer of muscles also, so it makes quite a lot of sense. Your esophagus, that's the one that got peristalsis. Okay? Okay, so primarily it's C-shaped to allow, when you swallow food, you just go down without getting stuck. Imagine if the C-shaped ring goes one full circle, right? Actually you will get stuck at various points. Stuck at your own cartilage will stop food from going down. I believe you can also see this image in your textbook. If you scroll up, you see exactly the same image. Okay? Just for your information, the trachea has the cartilage. If someone were to ask you to draw a cross section of a trachea, for example, if you look at this particular question, they say, draw a plan diagram of the layers in the wall of a trachea. What in the world is a plan diagram? A plan diagram is nothing more than just a biological drawing that focuses on layers of tissue, not individual cells. Every time I ask you to draw a biological drawing, right, you're very painful, right, to draw individual cells. A plan diagram is a kind of biological drawing that is more zoomed out. We are more focused on layers of tissue. So for example, what I've drawn here is a plan diagram. I have not focused on drawing up close over here, like all the individual cells. That is not my focus at all. Even though, right, if you were to look very carefully, you can sort of see individual cells over here. But that's not our focus. When we draw a plan diagram, all we are focused on is the layers. So for example, in that diagram right there, you can see individual cells surrounding the cartilage. But I'm not going to draw individual cells. Instead, I'm just going to draw a layer out here. Right? And that layer is connective tissue. And this is just FYI, you don't need to know that that's connective tissue. It's all the tissue that's around your neck, okay, surrounding the trachea. But my point of showing you this is that when we draw a plan diagram, we don't need to draw individual cells, even though you can see a lot of cells. Just focus on the layer of the tissue. We do plan diagrams when we just want to focus on tissue types rather than cell types. It gives you a little bit more focus. So you just pay attention during a practical, whether we are asking for a plan diagram or a very biological drawing. To end off today, may I get you to go to the second tab over here? Epithelium lining of trachea. You will see this image. This image corresponds to what you find in your textbook. It looks quite similar over here. Okay, so I'll show you both pages. Your textbook, as well as the SLS, you see quite a similar image. To give you an idea where you can find these cells, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. These cells are found over here, on the inner lining of your trachea. So I'm going to zoom in, inner lining of the trachea. You find these cells. So I'm going to draw one over here, Okay, another one over here. And then there's a pit. Okay, another one over here with a pit. Okay, these cells are very interesting. They are called goblet cells. You watch Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire? You know that book? Okay, what is a goblet? A goblet is like a cup. Okay? These cells are kind of have like a cup shape that goes inwards. Because in these cup shaped parts over here, this is where mucus is produced. So I will squirt out some mucus. Okay? In these pockets over here is where mucus is produced. Mucus is actually secreted out into your trachea all the time. Okay, so this me trying to draw mucus. Mucus. Can you find where these pits are when you just look at this diagram? Can you see the pits? Okay, here's an example of one of the pits that goes inwards. This is where some mucus is being produced. This is another pit. This is also another pit. Yeah. If you look into your textbook, you'll find that there are a lot of very dark spots. Okay. We zoom in. You see all these dark spots over here? These are all the pits where all the mucus is being produced, and after that squirt out into the trachea. Why does our respiratory system produce so much mucus? What in the world is it for? So that every morning you can right? What in the world is mucus for? In fact, I produce so much of it, my nose is always blocked. So, okay, you know you've got no shit sometimes, right? No shit is just dried up mucus. All the liquid from it evaporate already, then what's left behind is the proteins in the mucus. So your no shit is the mucus, dried up one. What's the mucus for? Let me guess. Sorry? Okay, when you breathe in dust, you notice your mucus very sticky. You got blood, right? It's very sticky, right? It traps a lot of random shit that you breathe in, you know. You breathe in like dust, you go to construction site and everything, right? All the dust will get trapped into the mucus, right? So imagine dust going in, you get trapped at the mucus. Prevents it from going any deeper in. Another interesting thing about these cells is that they are hairy. On the surface of these cells, there are small little microscopic hair. If you look at the diagram over here, you can see that layer of microscopic hair. Okay, right here, layer of microscopic hair. I want to make a guess what this hair is for. Yeah, like a broom, it sweeps the dust and the mucus in a certain direction. Okay, logically, you would think the hair should be sweeping upwards. Okay, the hair should be sweeping upwards so that you can get the mucus out of your system as well as all the dust it traps. We call this hair cilia. Please don't confuse it with villi. It's a very different things. Imagine you have villi in your respiratory system. That means that guy that choked on bubble tea, right? Actually, it's fine. You will have absorbed it anyway. But it's not the case. It's not villi in your trachea. It's cilia. It's just hair. Okay? Microscopic hair. And then I got some students say, oh, your small intestine have a lot of cilia to help absorb food. Also cannot, hair cannot absorb stuff. If not, you just like your food at the table, just put your hair. Also cannot, right? Okay, so and notice everything about how these tubes are adapted is to keep it clear and open. Okay, by the way, this cartilage, right, you can find it also around the bronchus. Okay, the bronchus also have, the bronchioles also have a little bit of cartilage. Okay, these points also have goblet cells, also have cilia. The whole point of all these things, from the cartilage over here, from the cartilage to the hair to the mucus everything serves one purpose, which is to keep your airways open and clear, so that air can go in and air can go out. Take away any of these parts, something is going to go very wrong. For example, if you take away the goblet cells that produce mucus, what do you suppose will happen? If you remove all the cilia, the hair that sweeps the mucus up, what do you think will happen to your respiratory system? If you remove the cartilage, what do you think will happen to your respiratory system? A sort of fight move, right? Where you just like pump the person's throat over here, right? The cartilage. Oh, that's crazy, you know? Can you imagine you shift one of the rings of cartilage inwards? You cause the trachea to collapse and air cannot go in. That's a very dangerous move to like just whack the person back. But you're being attacked by a stranger, maybe just whack it there. Smoking is one of the sure ways to paralyze your cilia. For smokers, this cilia over here, this layer of hair, can become paralyzed. It can stop their sweeping function. As a result, a lot of smokers, they can accumulate a lot of mucus in their system. Then you hear them cough a lot. Because they're trying to cough out the mucus that's stuck. And they cannot naturally sweep up by themselves. Yes? A cilia is just microscopic hair. There is constantly sweeping in a particular direction, mainly upwards, so that you can get your mucus out of the body. It's very hard to cough out all your mucus. Okay, so for today, before I meet you tomorrow, may I invite you to complete just these two sections. Number one, can I get you to draw a plan diagram of your trachea? That means to say, I'd like you to just focus on the layers you see. Don't need to draw individual cells. Next, I'd like you also to practice identifying all the things you see in this particular image. So they ask you to make a detailed drawing of a goblet and ciliated epithelial cell adjacent to each other. May I get you to draw 1, 2, 3. Draw 3 goblet cells side by side and annotate them. Exactly where you think the cilia is and where the pits are that produce the mucus. Okay, so these are more practical skills that you can expect to see inside when we do practical. Okay, but these are also things that you can practice because we may give you animal specimens to look under the microscope. Okay, I will stop here today. If you like to, you can start on these two tasks and then submit it onto SLS. Draw a plan drawing as well as a more zoomed up biological drawing of 3 cells, 3 of these goblet cells. Tomorrow I will see you in the lab and we are going to learn how we breathe. Right? You see your ribcage move up and down when you breathe. Now, how exactly does it work? What exactly is happening to allow air to rush in? Okay, so that's what we're going to learn tomorrow. Okay, and that's all I have for today. Take this time to touch up your notes or to try these 2 drawing activities. I found this balloon thing. Basically, it's used to refuse. It's used to fill up water balloons. So now you screw this to the tap, right? Switch on the tap, all of this will get filled up. Right? You don't have to individually fill anymore. But I feel like it looks kind of like the bronchioles, right? All the air sacs. Like then you breathe, right? Take a breath in, and it's like inside your lungs, right? These 2 things. So I feel like it looks quite similar. Except that each one of these balloons have a lot of partitioning, make it even more. Increase the surface area a lot more. Oh, haven't stopped yet. Okay. All right. Bye bye. Shannon, you help me wipe the whiteboard. Thank you.
It's very hard.